much for joining me today. I have a really fun set of cards that we're going to create, except we're going to go a little bit more. This is the Alena card kit from 49 and Market, and I thought I would do a card kit review because I did one a little while ago and it was really popular. You guys asked for some more and I love this. Now for starters, I can't get over the packaging, so this is just the packaging, the backing, and even this bit here, how many card fronts are we able to make out of this? I am going to utilize this in today's little card making session. So first of all, just showing you what comes in the kit. There are 2 sheets of rub-on transfers. Now, I think these are like 6 by 8 inches or so. They're fairly big. There's a lot of sentiments on there. They are jam-packed. They're all really close together, which is good value for money. And then some gorgeous little florals and butterflies. So that's all good. I do like rub-ons. I do love 49 and Market. But I must admit, I looked through lots of the kits that were available, not just from 49 and Market, just from everywhere, and this one definitely caught my eye. Now, these are the card bases. So it comes with 8 A2 cards, and there are 2 of each design, so there's 4 different designs. But you can see on these that except for this one, the others are all like kind of double-sided, if you know what I mean. So when I fold this one in half, it clearly, to me, has a front and a back. So that would be the front there sort of thing. But the rest of them all have designs that move over onto the back of the page, which I love. But that opens up a whole lot more possibilities for us because you know I like value for money and I want to show you more options than just sort of putting together the kit like it comes. So that's what today's video is going to be about. If you want to see someone using just the kit and no other supplies at all, this video is not really that, but we do make good use of everything in the kit. I don't use many more supplies, but I definitely don't just use them as is. So I like to get good value for money. Now this card kit, I'm happy to review some card kits. So let me know if you like this kind of thing or if there are some that you would like me to review. But I just can't go the really expensive ones. They are out of my budget. This one is pretty much the top of my budget that I would go for a card making kit. But I absolutely love this design and obviously that helps sell it to me. So we've got all the card bases there. This also comes with 8 envelope seals for the back. Then it also comes with 8 envelopes. Now these are good quality cardstock. I will just say these are not paper. These are cardstock and they are a decent weight. Everything is scored, ready to go, so you literally just have to fold it all together. Again, you could absolutely cut these up and use them for things. Now, I don't know if your mind is going where my mind is going, but my mind at this point was really running with the possibilities that we could go with. So this is obviously how the envelope was roughly intended. It's beautiful, stunning, a little bit of double-sided tape in there, and you're away laughing. These are all gorgeous. I love the colors of these. I love the apricots. I love the florals. I love everything. The blues. I'm a blues person, and so yeah, I really like it. I would say that this kit comes with fairly stock standard, obviously it's a cheaper end of the kit, so bear that in mind, of the kits that are available. But I think this kind of comes with everything that you need to create. But it's all relatively done for you, I will admit. I feel like, and maybe that's what you're after in one of these card kits. I feel like putting all of these together would give you a couple of hours of happiness-filled time, and you could just be on with your day, absolutely. But I am going to go a little bit further just because it's fun and because who doesn't want more options? I will just quickly say in here that I was not given this. I paid for this. I just like the look of it. This is my thing. I paid for this. I have no idea. In fact, I've never had any contact from anyone with 49 and Market. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not gifted anything. And so this is all just me purchasing and trying things out, seeing if they're good value for money. So this card here, I mean, you could leave this as is. How gorgeous is this? This is a stunning card, just beautiful. Took me literally seconds. Fold the card, put on the rub-on, and you're good to go. And you can absolutely do that. That is beautiful. but we are going to cut this. Now, we are going to cut this because we can get more out of this. So I'm going to cut roughly up the spine with some little cutter bee scissors, and then I am going to just put everything out of my way so I can focus on what's in front of me, but I'm going to fussy cut around this image. Now, this is not as bad as I was expecting it to be at all, because everything is fairly solid and I'm leaving a little border. Some little fussy cutting scissors will make this 1,000 times easier. So I'm just going to rock around the outside, moving the paper more than I move my scissors, that's for sure. And as I said, if this is not your jam, then that's okay too. The card is stunning by itself, absolutely stunning. And that does give you a level of satisfaction, just absolutely doing it as is. But, as I said, options are good. So, once I've finished fussy cutting that, I'm going to take this little border die here. This, I know that there is a cutter that Tim Holtz has, the deckled edge trimmer, or whatever it's called, something similar to that. That would do a similar job to what this die is doing. I just don't have room to store another cutter, so I have no experience with it at all. You can also get rulers that you can like tear like this, but as I said, this was a card stock. It was a card base, so it's a decent weight of cardstock, so I'm not sure that it would go well with the ruler technique. I am going to pop this up to give the card a little bit more dimension. Now, for this card kit, I'm still going simple. I'm not going to go crazy, not going to go all out. My intention was that I wanted to use the ingredients in the kit, but take them slightly further, but without having you to feel like you needed a whole lot more stuff to create what I was creating. So most of this stuff you'll probably have on hand. You have some scissors to do the fussy cutting. I'm going to add in some of these clear droplets. You know these are my favorite, and they just add that little bit of something. But the card here has so much dimension. If I were to do this again, I might even use that die cut, the deckled edge one, to die cut out of the packaging so it was a blue, and that would be a nice contrast for the background with the apricots in front. But I love this just as much too. Moving on to card number 2. Now, we are making 5 cards, by the way, today. That's why it's such a long video, so I apologize if that's not your thing. But even if you have the papers and things to be able to recreate these, not necessarily these papers, but just any papers that you might just have some pattern paper lying around that is similar. Then you can take these ideas and apply them as well. Now, I'm going to use this packaging because this is stunning, and I almost didn't want to use it. This is the type of card kit that I could happily hoard. Now, I have these 2 banner dies here. I'm going to run them through with some plain white cardstock. Then I'm also going to run the banner die through with the packaging. So that's the blue banner that you can see underneath there. Then I'm taking a card base and I have split it in half again, because this is one of those card bases that has the pattern goes onto the front and the back. So let's utilize that. So I'm going to trim these both down just a little bit so they're more like 4 by 5 1/4 or 3 3/4 by 5. So just trimming them down a little bit basically, so there's going to be a nice white border on there. Now, I'm actually going to make these into 2 separate cards. So we are going to get more cards from the pack than originally planned. I can do this with lots of them, but of course, then you might say, oh, you don't have a matching envelope, but you could use some of the rub-ons and things, because you'll see how much we have left over at the end of this. You can use the rub-ons to sort of rub on onto your envelope and everything, and that way it feels a little bit more coordinated. So I am going to take the one of the banners here. I've got the little sentiment that says a little note. Again, I just cut this from the rub-ons, popped it down, rub a little bit, and then it slowly comes up. I just peel from one corner to make sure that I have the rub-on down, but if you accidentally pick it up and you've still got some that you missed, just pop it right back down into place, then rub again, and you will not see a seam. You cannot notice. That's one thing that I do love about rub-ons. So I just slowly peel off from one direction to make sure I've got everything on there. Now, my original intention was to layer this up. So I would have sort of the blue behind it, and I would capture the blue from the flowers. Now, when I was filming this, I didn't like the look of it, and so I changed it up a little bit. Now that I'm editing it, I think it looks fine with just the banner behind it like that, right there. But at the time I was like, nope, that doesn't go. The plain white is stunning, but I did like the little band of blue running underneath it. So I'm going to put that banner aside, the blue banner aside for a minute. You can see I cannot decide. I just get a little strip of the blue from the packaging again, and I'm going to cut that out, put some double-sided tape behind my behind the bit here, and so I can attach this on, and this is just an extra little, like a little glimpse of color, just an extra little something. Then I'm going to have that coming off the side. As I said, all of these cards are so simple, but we really just want to sort of enjoy the card making kit and get as much out of it as we can. And so I'm going to pop that up. I didn't do the ends of the banner. I quite like the ends of my banner sort of poking up a little bit so you can tell it's dimensional. You also could have popped it up on some double-sided tape. That would have looked stunning as well. Then I can turn this over, cut off the excess, and then pop this down onto my card base. The card bases that I'm using are also 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, so that makes life really easy. And from here, I just use some liquid glue, pop this down, and we're good to go. I would love to know in the comment section down below, do you use card kits? Are you more likely to buy one-offs? Are you more likely to sign up? Have you signed up to any card kit subscriptions? I just find it really interesting. I myself definitely have not signed up to any subscriptions, mainly because I just struggle to see the value in it if I don't like the contents. I hope that doesn't come off too harsh, but I guess that's just what I think. And so I would prefer to just buy one-offs. Never say never. I would happily sign up for a card kit if it was something that I thought was really good value and I was really interested in. But I am enjoying reviewing a couple of them, usually the cheaper end of them, and seeing what we can create. The one that I previously did, I will also link down below. It was a very different styled card kit, and it was very cheap and cheerful, and actually they were on clearance, and so it made it even better, which is always good. So now I'm going to move on to this one. I have, thanks so much, a little sentiment cut out. These are previous die cuts. This one that I'm doing this on is from Spellbinders. I believe it's called Rings Around the Circle. And then I just had a vellum die cut sitting ready to go. And so I'm going to put that on just to separate it a little bit from the background too. A little bit of foam tape never goes astray. It just lifts things up. And then I will pop this down on the corner of the card base. So all the hard work into the background and the florals, it's all done for us. So I really like that. And I think for me, sometimes I feel like going all out in card making and doing backgrounds and getting really inky and getting everything out. Usually when I have more time, sometimes I just like to put things together and they just look pretty immediately, and this is kind of, that satisfaction. Some of the hard work has been done, and I just really enjoyed this card kit. It's thoroughly right up my alley, the colors, the designs, and so I loved all of it. I really enjoyed filming this video. I was having a great time. And so let me know what you think, as well as the kits. I think they pretty much sell everything separately, as in they sell the papers, they sell the rub-ons maybe, I'm not sure. I think they sell some of the things separately. So if you're interested, I can link some of them down below, and you can sort of check out. If you don't want to buy the card kit, you might just like the cardstock, or you might just like one element of it. I think they have other things in the Alena collection as well that is certainly not in the card kit. Well, I know that they do. So yeah, maybe I'll even check those out, because I was thoroughly impressed when I got this one. Now we are moving on. I wanted to use one of the bluesy sort of backgrounds, and so this is a card base again. Again, I'm going to split this in half, but I'm kind of going to, I won't say cheat, because none of this is cheating. There is no rules. But I'm going to use the florals from one of these and put it on the other. Now I'm going to fussy cut out the florals from this top one here. So I really, really love this. And again, I looked at these things. Are they going to be easy to fussy cut? Are the edges relatively straight? Yes, then I can do it. And you can see it fits on there beautifully. It has that extra little butterfly too. And I know this sort of feels like destroying a card base, but then again, that's okay. Again, there's no rules. And we made a card from it anyway. And I was able to put a whole card together using these things. So I was pretty happy. Now, I love these rub-ons. I'm pretty much trying to use these instead of pulling in more sentiments. As usual, if you're doing this at home, then you can pull in whatever supplies you have at all. So the many thanks was going to go nicely in the background. It's going to stand off from the background and it's going to fit right there perfectly in between my little images. So once I give that a good rub, and then I'm just going to glue the other one on flat. I did think about whether I should pop this up, but I really just like it flat. I was happy with it as is. So some liquid glue, and then it's a little bit more than what I needed, so I will just have to cut off, trim a little bit from the sides, and then that one will be good to go. I also fussy cut out that little butterfly. Don't forget him. He's absolutely gorgeous. There are also butterflies in the rub-ons pack as well, so I could have gotten one from there too, but while I had already cut that piece of paper, I figured I may as well keep going. Now, as with the other card fronts, I cut this card down a little bit. You can see the scraps are off there to the right, so I cut it down to be about 4 by 5 1/4 inches again, so it just leaves that little white border around the outside that I like. I think this card actually might be really lovely with a few little spatters of white around it, because that brings some white into the card as well. There is a little bit in the flowers and things, but I may do that after this as well. I'm going to do some more things, but with those scraps that I have there, I couldn't resist, and I felt like they would go on the inside perfectly nice. Now obviously they're from different sides, one side and the other side, so they don't match or go together, but popping them down the bottom feels like you're sort of coordinating the inside of the card as well. So just since they were sitting there and they're not really too much use for anything else, I thought, why not? Let's pop them in the middle. So a little bit of liquid glue. They're already cut down perfectly to size, so they just really slot there in place, which is perfect. And then from here, I'm going to do some finishing touches on this card. Now, as I said, this is just the finishing touches. You absolutely don't have to do anything from there. I have popped my little butterfly on the front. I have some Nouveau drops. These are the jewel ones, and so they're sort of semi-transparent with a little bit of color in them. And I'm going to put some yellow ones in the middle of the flower, and then there are some berries there, which I'm going to put the red one on. And this just sort of, again, makes it a little bit more dimensional. You can feel it when you run your fingers over the card. So I really like adding those little elements that sort of aren't too much, but they're just a little bit of fun. So that is the next card. Moving on, I'm going to use these gorgeous rub-ons because these are stunning. Now, I felt like I hadn't used them and I did want to hoard them, I will tell you. But I have this blue banner that I was going to use earlier on and didn't want to go to waste. So I'm going to use this here. Now, I'm going to, instead of what you could do, what I would have done if this were not using a card kit, I would mask this off and do some inking. But this is just going to be our background here. So I'm going to take some of the rub-ons. I'm just cutting out a few. You know I like to get value for money, so I'm actually going to cut some of those florals in half so it sort of looks like they were two different ones to begin with. I'm going to cut out some of the butterflies, and really all of these would work. They would all work perfectly, so you could just choose any of them, and then you can absolutely do this idea with any of the papers and rub-ons that you have at home as well. It certainly doesn't have to be this card kit, so these are just great ideas for basic cards as well. Now, let me just tell you that this kind of card is most certainly my happy place. I absolutely love this style of card, and I love these colors. I love the rub-ons together. This is where I'm going to cut the floral in half and just sort of add these to the edges so they naturally look like they're coming off the edge there. As I said, I can use both of them, which is perfect. I'm not intending to have the little banner part at the end there in the card, so that's actually going to be getting cut off, so I'm really focusing on making sure I don't get it in that bit too. So give these a good rub as well. And this is sort of, this feels so good because if I were to do this with stamping, I'd have to figure out how I would get the coloring on there. So really the rub-ons are perfect for this. I put the flowers, sort of balance it one at each end, and then I'm just going to add on a few little butterflies. And remember, this blue part here is actually part of the packaging. It's not part of the kit per se, which I absolutely love. There are a few companies coming out now. Viken is another one who makes sure that all of her packaging is usable or reusable. It has the pattern, it has the gorgeousness that you are able to use it straight onto your products, and as someone who has to purchase these, I really appreciate that. I love all the extra, a little bit of value for money, and that the companies are thinking about what the customer is going to love and appreciate. So I really, really like that. As I said, I'm not affiliated with these guys. I don't know even who runs 49 in Market, and I certainly am not gifted anything. I just purchase everything as is, and so yeah, I really appreciate it when companies are thinking of these extra little things that they can do. So you can see the packaging is on the back, but that's okay. Covering it up, put some double-sided tape on. I'm putting it near the top because you need to remember to think about which sentiment you are going to add down the bottom. Now, I was trying to use up sentiments from the kit, and I think this goes perfectly. But if you're just trying to use a nice sort of flat, perfect sentiment, then I would center this a little bit more in the middle. Now, I'm sorry my camera's having a minute trying to focus there. When there's too much white in the frame, it never loves it that much. But I'm cutting off these little fishtails, and that's okay. Just to finish it off, I'm going to take a little bit of gold glitter cardstock. Now, this is actually like printed glitter. It's not like flaky glitter. I'm going to take some liquid glue, run it down each side and put that. I also think a really nice dark navy blue or something would have gone well here. Just something to contrast and sort of add to the edges, a little bit of a finishing touch. You can totally skip it as well if you want to. Again, I'm going to snip those little ends off so everything is nice and neat. I'm one of those people that has to do it as I go along the way so that I can kind of envisage where the card is going. I sort of need to keep trimming off the little bits and pieces. Now, as it was, this was not really going to fit this little sentiment. There wasn't quite enough room. But by taking it apart and doing it separately, I'm going to have the perfect amount of room. So just using the little tool that comes in the kit to with the rub-ons, I put down the thinking, and then I'm going to separate the words of and you as well, just so that I can make them fit and how they can suit me a little bit better. So just because that's how it came in the kit doesn't mean that's how you have to put them down. And that's with all things, remember, with stamps and dies, you can cut them, you can rearrange them, there's no rules. Once they're yours, you can do as you please to make it work for you and to get our best value for money, of course. So I can sneak this little of in here, and then the little you just peel off the backing and pop them down. So I have made 5 cards today. I think I used, did I use 4 card bases? 3 or 4 card bases. And I'm going to pop them each with a coordinating envelope. That way anyone who grabs them out of my stash also has the envelope ready to go. But, and my goal wasn't to sort of finish the kit essentially. I was just trying to give you a few more options. So of course I still have so much left over from this kit. Like there's obviously 4 more card bases. There is absolutely a whole lot of rub-ons, a whole lot of sentiments left. So if I were to judge and say, do they give you enough elements and choice for your cards, then I would say absolutely yes, I do think they do. Now, this is what is left. As I said, by no means am I finished. By no means did I sort of complete the card kit, but you can see that there is a whole lot of rub-ons. I still have all of these card bases left, ready to go. I can use these for card bases. I can also use these for cutting them up and make them card fronts. I have all of the envelopes. I still have all of the packaging at the back. So really this kit is very much only half used. I can have another whole session one afternoon and just go to town and create at least a minimum of 4 more cuts with this kit. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video today. These are the 5 cards that I created. Even if you don't have the card kit itself, I hope that you can take some of the ideas and the design layouts and you can apply them with whatever you have at home, absolutely. Of course, below there is links to the supplies, to our Facebook group, to the Buy Me a Coffee if you're interested in supporting my channel. But other than that, thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you again for making it this far in this long video, and I will see you in the next